Okay, so today we left out of Riverton and we headed west and we went all the way through to the Grand Teton National Forest. Then we went north, went to Yellowstone National Forest, started to go around the loop a little bit and went to Old Faithful, and then went west out of Yellowstone to a town called West Yellowstone, and then went north, went by Big Sky, Montana, and then ended up in Bozeman, Montana, which is where we're spending the night. Okay, for our daily recap, today we left from, what was the city we were in?
Riverton, Wyoming.
And we are now in Bozeman, Montana.
332 miles.
All right, and really a beautiful ride. What was the part that stuck out to you?
Going into the Grand Tetons National Park, and then basically the whole park in total, going into and driving through on the way to Yellowstone. It was just beautiful, absolutely stunning views every way we turned.
You go through the Wind River Indian Reservation, and it's beautiful, you know, flat lands close to the road, but then it's rimmed by mountains on the right and on the left. And then as you go further and further and you leave Wind River, you get to a national park called Bridger Teton, and you go up through a pass. We actually crossed the Continental Divide there.
Yes, and it was 7,900 feet where we passed there. Absolutely
beautiful. And then you drop out of there, so then you have the Grand Teton National Park, then you have the Yellowstone National Park. So we were just hitting park after park after park. Even starting in the morning, there were these low overhanging clouds. They were sort of dropping the bottom out of the clouds a little bit, but it wasn't all reaching the ground. It's just a really dramatic effect. Every time we turned a corner, the scenery just became a different angle, a different view. Sometimes rounded mountains, sometimes plateaus, sometimes sharp edge mountains. As we went into Yellowstone National Park, I actually thought the view went down just a little bit because all of a sudden we were in alpine forest and you were in a tunnel of trees and you couldn't see out quite as well. Before we went into the national forest, or national park, man, we just had these stunning vistas anywhere we looked.
The Tetons definitely were a lot more stunning as far as how far you could see and what you could see.
Yeah. Now we did get through a couple of national parks and make a stop, and then I think my camera was off, so I'm not sure if I got all that. I can just tell you, if you ever come back yourself, go west out of Riverton and just keep driving. The first hour and a half was just one of the most beautiful roads ever. And even if my camera was working, the lens is probably going to be covered by bugs. We did get some bugs out of the cow pastures as we went by. We're using all your footage, and I don't think it was running at all.
Maybe. I got so many bugs on my camera. Let me clean it off real quick.
Do.
Okay.
What'd you clean it with?
My shirt.
one good thing about having this removable lens. Hey,
I'm just gonna feel it.
Yep.
What else stood out to you?
Lunch at Old Faithful. That was pretty fun. It was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, so we needed lunch anyway. We went through the crowds. You know, the place is a madhouse. It was a Saturday, so we went through the crowds. You know, got some food, sat on the back porch. We were in some rocking chairs, and it's like, and if you know, you go up to Old Faithful and you can sit close if you want to on these benches out in the sun, and it's like, nah, we'll stay on the porch in the rocking chairs. And we did. We just sat there and just chilled out. Had probably an hour, hour and a half of just being lazy. Pretty nice.
It was a good break.
Yeah, you need to, because he is not going to, no.
How many people go to national parks and decide to text their mama instead of looking at her? Not many.
That's good. That's good.
I should just start picking my nose.
It's going so high. Look at it, Adam. Look. It's going so high. It's going so high. It's like a volcano. It's like a volcano. It's going to us. It's going to us. It's going to rain on us.
Yeah. Now leaving out was a little different.
That was terrible. So the only exit to the park was I think 3 pedestrian crossings. And so everybody coming to the gift shop was crossing the road, and it was holding up traffic, and it was awful.
There's probably literally, I don't know, 1,000, couple of thousand people out there for each one of these times that it erupts. And then all of a sudden everybody leaves immediately after, and everybody's having to put on the brakes for the pedestrians. They have to exit the whole parking lot out one exit? That just doesn't make any sense. Say inbound road, there's only one outbound road. That's crazy. Hey, pull up here to the side and I'll fix it for you before we sit in all this traffic. Go right there. I think maybe both lanes will bend left. We'll see. You know, if they didn't have a gift shop with pedestrians walking across, this traffic would all flood out onto the main street. But even after leaving the part where Old Faithful is, then you're on this little 2-lane road. Basically, you only have 1 lane. And so they spotted 1 buffalo. And so everybody starts slamming on brakes to see this 1 buffalo. And we're just sitting there on motorcycles, barely able to keep going backwards. You know, we're having to use our clutch over and over and over again in first gear to just keep rolling a little bit and then stop. Keep rolling a little bit and then stop.
Which all these cars with their air conditionings were just kind of living the dream. We're sitting there in full armor, and the temperature, I think when we left the parking lot it was 88, and it climbed to about 93 by the time we actually got rolling. So temperature was climbing, we're sitting there in full sunlight baking, and traffic was crawling.
Yeah, and talking temperature, now that we've arrived in Bozeman, Montana, it has now hit 100 degrees again. So we were adding it up. We left the southeast with temperatures in the 90s, and we thought, great, we're going to go north and west and get better temperatures. We went through Oklahoma, Kansas, Colorado, Wyoming, and now Montana. 5 states all going north and west, all of them hitting 100 degrees or more. And back in Alabama, it's in the 90s. So it's not always cooler when you head up. But anyway, maybe as we go into Canada, maybe it'll get cooler.
Or maybe we'll just take it with us.
Yeah, we were saying if it stays like this, we're going to be melting glaciers when we hit Alaska. So the heat seems to be following us. Luckily, anytime it's rained, it's been just a sprinkle and been refreshing. So, you know, we'll take warm weather with you know, cooling sprinkles as much as we can get a few cooling sprinkles. That'd be great.
Yep. These are some fun turns. It's so beautiful.
So this Yellowstone River had a flooding incident one year, and it washed the road out, and you couldn't get in or out this entrance.